My lord, video form. What's going on?
Look at us.
Yeah. I don't know how much of this is going to be going up. It could be clips. It could be the whole thing. But welcome to season 5 of Chatting Pitch Podcast, where me, Leslie, and my co-host, right next to me, or that way, or up and down. I'm not sure which way it's going to be.
And down, side to side.
Yeah.
We could meld our faces.
We could
Wait,
melt our
wait.
faces.
Move over. Welcome
What the-
to Chatting
Pitch with the power of visual effects.
We have become
Wait,
one.
Yeah,
Excellent
welcome
start.
to
Wonderful.
welcome to Chatting Pitch. We're trying something new. We're trying to introduce some video form into our podcast in hopes that we can, I don't know, up the level of our production.
Yeah.
Who
We've
knows?
got green screens.
We've got green
That's
screens. Yeah.
proper studio. We could do anything. We could be in space. We could be on a roller coaster.
Please don't give
I'm
me more
going
work
up
to
Kevin Feige's butt. I loved Captain America: A Brave New World.
do. Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be funny if I just didn't do the green screen? We just ended up just having
Did the
green
green?
backgrounds.
Yeah. Because green's a nice color. I got some green tea here too. It's green, so we could CGI anything because it's green tea. That's how it works.
I guess it could be classed as green tea, but mine is oolong tea. I'm not sure if you
Can't
ever had
CGI that,
oolong.
Leslie.
No.
It's not green tea.
So when you saw me lift it up, there was nothing in there. Not sponsored.
Whereas mine, it could be anything. It could be a building. Can
Chatting
you CGI
Pitch.
it, so I'm drinking a building.
Yeah, Chatting Pitch, sponsored by buildings, and not oolong tea.
Do you like going in buildings? It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Should we explain a little bit of what this podcast is before we
Sure.
continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, please, after you. We are Chatting Pitch. The reason why we're called Chatting Pitch is because, well, we like to talk about movies and TV shows and other things. We throw our reviews in there. But, those podcasts are dime a dozen. There's loads of those. So we thought, how do we make ourselves unique? And we thought we could also have portions of our episodes where we pitch ideas at each other's faces. That's why we call ourselves Chatting Pitch.
That's right. And sometimes we don't pitch. Sometimes we run out of time. But more often than not, we do pitch. And what do we mean by pitching? We're not talking about pitchforks. We're not talking about highs and lows of pitch.
No, although sometimes we do change the pitch of our voice.
We do.
Just to keep things. And we can do that now
When we're doing those
automatically with
silly-
our green screen.
When we're doing those silly characters, am I right? Yeah.
When I'm not using my real voice like this. When I'm putting on a voice like this, you recognize this character, don't you?
But when I do this character...
Who is that?
It was like pseudo Brian Blessed.
I'm imagining a guy with like a massive jaw. His jaw is like the size of his head. There's like his head and then his jaw.
Who's that dude from... Who's that dude from James Bond? Jaws, right?
Okay, yeah.
It's him / the shark from Jaws.
And that's how... Yeah, that's
half and
that
half.
is how...
Like anyway, speaking of Jaws, here's the jingle. And then we can't put the Jaws theme in because that's copyrighted.
No.
Yeah. And we can't put...
We'll do our own Jaws theme.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd join in with that.
Sorry, I didn't get
using the face. I thought it was like bird. With the power of CPP.
CPD.
Great. What are we talking about this week?
With the power of IBS. What are we talking about this week? Well, I suppose we could do a bit of a catch up because it's been a while.
Yeah, we took about a month off.
We took several weeks off trying to decide how we were going to progress with the podcast.
Mhm.
We decided to go visual, not with the smell-o-vision. That will be
Nope.
next time. That'll be season 6. You'll be able to smell us. But for now, yes, several weeks off. So I guess we could catch up, talk about things that we've seen, things that we haven't
do it.
seen, things that we'd like to see, things that we saw but we regret seeing, things that we've blocked out from our memory.
Yeah,
That last one might be harder.
yeah.
We'll
Like
have to
that
go in
time
depth.
I was in school and I had a little
You got
accident.
that question wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. What did you watch over the weekend? Because I think we watched the same thing.
I think we might have done. I watched the first 2 episodes of Adolescence
So did I.
on Netflix.
In fact, I did you one better. I watched all 4 episodes of Adolescence.
That's like me times 2 because there's 4 episodes. Well, no spoilers here.
Which makes me better.
I'm better than you. I've seen them all. And I remember them.
I'm not going to spoil episode 3 and 4 for you. In fact, I don't even think we need to spoil any of them for anyone. But
No.
we can talk about it. And let's see. What did you think of the first 2 episodes of Adolescence?
I think it's pretty good so far. It was difficult for me to ascertain because I watched the first episode and already having read about it.
Mhm.
So I already knew that the kid was going to be seen as guilty.
Okay.
Whereas my wife watched it.
Guilty of what, sir?
Guilty
Because
of murder. We haven't
We
set
haven't
it
actually
up.
talked about...
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. If you haven't seen it or heard anything about it. So it's a show where it starts off, it pretty much drops you in there. In medias res, I believe is the Latin.
Mm.
Maybe we can,
Ex
if that's
machina.
wrong, we'll just
I don't
green screen it. It's fine.
Cinema verite.
Mise en scene.
Mise en scene. Juxtaposition.
Comment appelez-vous? Didier Deschamps.
Omelette du fromage. Yeah.
That's what I like to do when I'm pretending to speak another language. I just say footballers' names in that language.
Yeah. And then do your hand
Didier
gesture.
Deschamps, Thierry Henry, et Elefou.
Levi Strauss, 501 jeans. Go on, what's the story?
What's the story? So yeah, it drops you in there with a 13-year-old kid, Jamie, getting arrested on suspicion of murdering someone.
Moida.
We're arresting you on suspicion of murder. Get down on your hands and knees, you punk, or I'll fill you full of...
I didn't do it.
I'll fill you full of daylight if you don't get down on your hands and knees. And
Here's the
then
problem with Moida. There's not enough Moida. The troll's back. Any seasoned listener from Chatting Pitch would understand that the troll every now and then comes back.
Yeah,
But
he's someone who doesn't like things.
yeah, he hates it so much that he has to say...
He's memorized all the Cinema Sins YouTube videos.
That's right.
Memorized them
Yeah.
all.
100 things you didn't know about trolls.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm not a troll.
Another thing wrong with that troll video, there wasn't enough trolls in the troll video.
And I've seen Troll 1 and 2.
So anyway, story. Let's explain the story. We've got to keep on track here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Chatting Pitch. Keeping on track. Matthew D. Smith, Leslie Way.
Yeah, let's go.
Melding our faces together. Green screen. Green tea. Green horns. We're new to this.
Adolescence, right, episode 1.
Yeah, Green Adolescence.
We got there. We got
Green
there.
Power Ranger. Like the Green Power Ranger, sometimes we go off track and we turn evil. But then we get back on the right track. And soon we'll become the
green
White
groceries,
Ranger.
lettuce,
Green groceries, yes.
pak
Healthy.
choy,
Mm.
green
Squinky
beans.
Yeah.
Adolescence.
So, yeah, they arrest him. And, yeah, they arrest him on suspicion of murder. His family go in with him. Stephen Graham plays his dad. very effectively. It's quite nice as well because Stephen Graham was getting a lot of the publicity focused on him, as well as the fact that it was a show made where every episode is one continuous shot. There's no blending or anything like that going on either. No trickery. It's actually all one shot, which I don't think distracts too much.
No, I was able to fully invest in it without it being too gimmicky because it wasn't really about the gimmick of the one shot. The story was very much driven by the characters, and not there was a few moments where I did think like, oh, how do they do that? And it has been subsequently explained by Netflix's official Twitter account, or X, whatever you want to call it these days. That there was an actual VFX shot in episode 2.
Okay.
Were you able to point out which one it was?
Was it not the first time, but the second time he goes into the history classroom and one of the students is an 8-armed alien?
Yeah, that was it.
Can anyone tell me this about King Henry VIII?
I'll tell you about Henry VIII.
Not enough Henrys.
That sounds suspiciously like the troll.
Yeah, how did you know? So if you look up on Twitter and you type in Adolescence Episode 2 Alien, you'll find all the answers.
It's all there.
Yeah.
The alien is also green. I don't want to spoil too much more of the plot, but it's from the fallout of this murder. So a body's been discovered. This kid Jamie's been arrested, and I even don't want to say what happens
the outcome
at the end of the first episode.
Of course, because I didn't know anything about it other than the fact that everyone was saying that it's a must-watch, and I binged watched all of it because of how captivating it was. I watched the first episode at about 11 p.m. at night over the weekend, and then the next episode just rolled on. You know the way the Netflix does it. They say the next one's about to start, and then you know, oh, go on then. I'll just watch one more. And it got to about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, kind of want to know what happens in episode 3. And then before I knew it, I watched the whole thing, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Very tired, but I am glad that
Was it like your Oscars experience, where it just kept coming?
It most definitely was like the Oscar experience.
That's how they could do the Oscars from now on. It could be a limited series.
Yeah, they should.
Streaming.
In fact, you know what they should do? They should say, oh, it's only going to be 1 hour. But then they don't tell you. And then they said, if you want to keep watching, we're just going to keep going. So you can either stay with us or you can leave. And
each episode has its own description, like every...
Every hour, there will just be a little thing at the bottom that says, next episode, continuing in 3, 2, 1. I liked this. I don't like this. You know, those little thumbs up that you get on the Netflix app. Yeah.
That's what I really liked after watching the second episode of Adolescence, which is just as tense as the first episode. And then straight away it comes up with one of the most thumbed up programs on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, your son's been convicted of the violent murder of...
Yeah. If you like this show...
yeah.
You'll like... what is it?
One of our beta games.
Whatever Kevin Hart is like in.
Yeah.
What was that recent Kevin Hart film that he did? You'll enjoy Lift.
Oh, not Lift. Horrible.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's basically it. I really liked it. I don't think...
Does it stick the landing?
It does. I believe it does. Every episode is actually focusing on separate time periods of series of events. So I think the first one you've already seen, which is the setup, and then the second one is 3 days later. They're investigating the school, and then the third and the fourth one, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it focuses on different character relationships with certain characters, but at a different time period. but yeah, that's all I'll say. But I think most people have resonated a lot with episode 3 because it's one of those bottle episodes
All
where
right,
it's
yeah.
just set in one location. Whereas like I think episode 1 and 2, you do go to different locations. Like you go like in, out, all around, about,
You
twist
shake it
and
all
shout,
about.
shake it all about. You know,
If
But
you like the
episode
hokey
in episode 4, they all do the hokey cokey.
cokey.
No, I really liked episode 3 and 4 actually, and there's a moment in episode 3 where it's like, man, the acting
Okay.
pretty good in my opinion. Anyway, there's been
I
a lot
don't
of
know.
discourse online. Some people saying like it's too slow and boring.
Okay.
But maybe that's just not for you. You know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was captivating. What did you think?
Well, I was going to say I enjoy how it started off, and I hope it continues in this vein for episodes 3 and 4, where it's not so much about the murder, and it's not so much about who committed the murder. It's more about why it happened.
Why? Yeah, that's.
And I
think
like it. I like that it wasn't, the episode 1 episode. That ending happens, and it's not like episode 2. But what you've seen, there's a twist. It's not a twist. It's carrying on.
Yep.
And it's following these main characters as they're doing their part.
Yeah.
It
does carry on like that. So it is just seeing what happens throughout time, as opposed to,
because I hate for it to be episode 4. I don't know. It turns out another character's done the murder, and at the end, and
it's not serialized. It is a limited show,
and now it's season 2, and he will kill again.
Jamie will return in the Avengers.
Graham, Jamie's best friend, who looks like him, will return.
Yeah, there's none of that.
And the only person who can catch Graham is Jamie. They've let him out of prison. Season 2, Twistathon.
It is very, very. I know we joke a lot, but it is a very sad show. It's very, very serious. I don't think not a lot of laughs.
Not really.
There's maybe one laugh in the second episode, like maybe between the main detective and his son character, I think.
Yeah, it's quite a nice ending to episode.
Playful banter, But yeah, I guess that's it. So we have a rating.
I was going to say, I do wonder how much the show consciously tries to plug into fears that maybe parents have. Whether those fears are over-exaggerated or not, I don't know. Being a parent of a 3-year-old, I did sit there saying, well, I can't wait for this to happen. Not the murder. But there's a conversation between the main detective and his son where it's like at the start of the conversation, they are just on completely different wavelengths. Like neither of them is in the wrong per se. They're just coming at each other from different angles.
Right.
So they're not understanding each other. Yeah. And that made me think like, well, I can't wait for another 12 years to go by and to have this conversation. But also the being a teacher, you hear about stuff like this where these horrible things do happen. And we're told, in my job, we're told it's almost like a slogan where it's like, it could happen here. Like that idea of like, it's not likely to happen. But so I do wonder how much of the show's plugging into those fears of, it mentions Andrew Tate and it mentions, it plays on it really plays on, definitely. And it definitely plays on that fear that every parent has of, okay, at some point I'm going to stop being able to understand what my child is talking about.
Yeah.
And every generation's gone through that because the culture changes. But I don't know if it's trying to consciously plug into the fact that it's the internet, so therefore it's happening a lot faster and a lot younger. Yeah. Maybe I'm just being hopeful. Maybe I'm just sitting there as a parent going, no, that won't happen to us. But don't know. Also, I wonder if in a decade, children will have access to social media the way they do now. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it also comes down to how much exposure. I mean, I can't speak as a parent because I'm not, but I just can only imagine that, things happen at a time and place, and there's nothing you can do really as a parent to completely control exactly what they're doing in their own time, because eventually you do have to kind of give them a little bit of freedom and let them experience things the way that they do. And they just need to know from right to wrong. Like some kids can't tell what's from right and wrong.
Yeah.
Most kids are they have statistically a better moral compass than others.
Yeah.
But it's also a product of their environment as well, and the kind of friends that they do ended up surrounding themselves with. It also has a lot to do with kids' self-esteems, which plays a lot in this series as well. Anyway, I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but what I am saying is I'm going to give the
let's
series.
claim to be experts.
I'm going to give the series a 5 out of 5. Another thing about
another thing that makes me an
kids.
expert is that I talk loudly.
Hey, let's wrap up this particular topic of conversation, and we'll say that we do have a rating system here, which is based on our name. Not narcissistic at all, and not self-indulgent, but we rate it based on the name of our podcast and the amount of letters there are in the podcast. So,
yeah,
Chatting Pitch. If we give it a C, that means it's the worst pile of dung that we've ever smelt and watched.
And if we give it a full Chatting Pitch, oh my days, that is
the best kind of smell.
That's 5 stars. That's high quality dung.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, you can't give your full rating because you haven't finished watching it yet. But I guess we could just rate it from episode 1 and 2.
Okay.
I reckon it's a solid for me. Chatting Pitch C for me.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Sure.
And I think I'd probably even give the full series that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say Chat-in is Chat-in without the G, dropping the G. That's like the middle, isn't it?
I guess
for our
so.
rating system. I guess. Let's not look into it too much. I would give it a solid chatting pie.
Really?
Yeah.
Not fully there. Maybe I enjoy that a lot more than you.
There were times where I sat there and I was a little distracted by. I was quite conscious that it was a oneer, and there. But I don't know if that's because I don't know. A bit like you, we've sort of taken a bit more time to study how to make movies and things like that. So I don't know.
Let me ask you this: if you hadn't known that it was presented as a oneer and you watched it, do you think you still would have been distracted? Or would you be like halfway through thinking, hang on a second, this whole thing's one take?
A single cut.
Yeah.
I wonder, has anyone told them?
No one told me this.
Dear Netflix, clackety clackety clack.
I don't know whether or not I'm supposed to enjoy this or not because no one told me how I'm supposed to enjoy it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, for me, I was told that it was going to be a oneer for every episode. So I went in knowing that. So I didn't look out for, did they stitch this part in? Or like, how many takes of this did they do?
Yeah.
For me, I just thought, okay, that's the setup. I'm just going to immerse myself in the characters now and the story. So it wasn't really anything. But there was one moment where in episode 2, the camera flies from inside of the classroom into the outside of the classroom during like this sequence. I won't say what it is without spoiling it, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It's like towards the end, but the camera went straight through the window. And I was like, hang on a second.
So is that the VFX shot you were talking about?
Not a real window, apparently.
Not a real window.
Yeah. That was the only part that they did that was special effects. But looking at the behind the scenes, it's incredible how they pulled it off, because they had many rigs that they could attach the camera to.
Right.
So sometimes it was on a car, and then somebody took it off the car, and then they put it on a drone, and then they took it off the drone.
Oh
and
yeah,
they put it in the guy's hair, and they took it out of the hair, and they put it up his butt,
and they put it on a pendulum, which swung right up to Stephen Graham's face. What did
and
you
then
do?
they
son?
put it on. They put it into a hadron collider, and then they just and then we watched the black hole open, and yeah.
Oh, that's episode
Anyway.
3. You spoiled it.
That's episode 3. I think we've said enough that we need to say about Adolescence. So, is there anything else that you've watched? Maybe we can do one for you, one for me. Is there
You
anything
know
that
what?
you've seen that I haven't seen?
I've been doing lots of rewatches at the moment, so that's sort of spoiled things. I've gotten a bit lazy in our
Well, that's
time
fine.
off. What's
What
been
have
out
you
recently?
rewatched? What have you rewatched? Have you rewatched Ad Astra? Sad Dad Astra?
Sad Brad Astra?
Sad Brad Astra?
Sad
One of your
Mad-
favorite.
Sad Mad Tommy Lee Jones Astra?
I think that's one of your go-to rewatchability movies, isn't it? You
Well,
like
Ad
to
Astra.
pop
Yeah,
that
I
on,
like a bit of Ad Astra. It's a good man movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Crimson Tide.
Have you seen?
Yeah,
there's
submarines.
There's this advert that comes up every now and then on YouTube about like a man coat, and it's like, "Are you a man? Well, you're not a man if you don't wear this coat." And I think it's supposed to be a parody. But
Okay.
they sell the coat. It's a legitimate coat, but they use the whole toxic masculinity angle. So like,
Sure,
you're not
sure.
a real man until you wear this coat, because this
Yeah.
coat makes you a man. And I was watching it thinking like, this seems very similar to some of the stuff that we used to do at university, just like fake.
I was going
man
to say,
adverts.
like that, yeah, the fake manly thing. That's like a 10-year-old joke now, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah. But I saw it on YouTube, and I was like, this is real, or is this? I couldn't tell. Yeah, that was funny. Anyway,
That's the problem, because there are some ads out there that are like, why don't you drink this energy drink? Why don't you?
Power thirst.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember that one?
That was
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
wasn't it? Power
Yeah.
thirst, make you into a man.
They used to do that with Old Spice, didn't they? You're not a man
They
until
did.
you put this on your.
Although that
arm.
was less like ultra manliness.
Mm.
It was more like a
It's
sophisticated.
more goofy.
manly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or that.
And
What was the Terry Crews
they
one?
were oneers, weren't they?
Do you remember the
fancy
Terry Crews
oneers.
ones?
Yeah, the Terry Crews ones were very much like, do you want pecs?
It's like, that wasn't my pecs, that was my abdomens. And then there's
Yeah.
abdomens opened up, and they had little
Abdominals. Hmm.
teeth. Abdominals, that's it.
I preferred the other ones that were more inventive and a bit silly. Although the abdominals one is pretty silly.
Yeah. They were all silly. Yeah, that was a real product of its time.
Old Spice was my favorite Spice Girl as well.
The old forgotten one.
Yeah,
Was at the back.
Cranky old man.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You didn't even sing the right lyrics to the right
yeah.
songs.
That's every song. Every song is come on, baby, come on, baby.
Sorry, well, talking about you rewatching movies. It wasn't Sad Astra, was it? It was which one was it? That you
No, what are we rewatching at the moment? We are rewatching The Walking Dead. Big fans.
I see.
Don't know
I
if you've
see.
seen it.
I've seen up to season 5, and then like kind of stopped.
Oh, okay.
And, I kind of fell off. It was after
Yeah.
which one was it? It was the Governor season,
Okay.
which is what I got up to, and then after that, I just kind of thought, well, I don't think I'm as invested anymore. But doesn't mean I won't go back. I could. I heard it kind of doesn't get as good as the first few seasons, or something like that.
I would say
Potentially.
the last couple of seasons drop in quality a bit. Not to the point where it ruins the show.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll revisit. I've
Yeah.
got a lot of other things that I need to finish off. Like, I need to finish off Shogun. Still haven't finished that
Oh,
off yet.
Shogun. What a show.
Yeah. What a Shogun. Yeah, I got like, 3-4 episodes in. Not that I haven't had time, I just haven't chosen the time to go back to it yet. It feels like something I need to be in the right
You haven't
mindset to
chosen
watch.
to watch Shogun.
Oh no. So Walking Dead, yeah, is that the only one that you've been rewatching recently?
We've been going real old school. Watched a bit of ER with young George
Oh,
Clooney.
is that about those post boxes that you see around the UK?
Yeah.
George
Every so
Clooney
often, George
is
Clooney
the
just
post
flattens
office.
himself and pops himself out of the post box. Hi, how you
Anyone
doing?
not in the UK, that is a very British joke where a lot of post boxes around. What does it mean? It says ER on the red post boxes that you see.
I think it just means
Are
are
got
you
a new
sure, mate?
post?
Are you sure you want to post that?
Yeah.
Have you put a stamp on that?
Yeah.
Lots of questions.
Okay, so
That's why
those
it's a
two,
great show. Lots of questions.
There you go. I've been watching a lot of movies recently, and I think I'm going to speed run them just so
Go
we
on.
can
Go on, hit
get
me.
through them. So, in chronological order, I watched Flow, which is the animated feature, best animated feature of the year.
Yeah, cat's out of the
voted
bag
by
on
the
that
Oscars.
one. Yeah.
Cat's definitely out of the bag, in the boat, in the ocean. I thought it was very good, and I very much enjoyed it. And I think I already spoke to you before, but I think it's everything I wanted the Wild Robot to be.
Okay.
Because I always had there was a bit of a disconnect for me, which I couldn't give it a full chatting pitch before because there was just this plot contrivance where the robot wasn't able to communicate with all the animals. Spoiler alert in case anyone hasn't seen Wild Robot, but this does happen quite early on. A robot is washed up ashore and then can't speak to any of the animals, so with the power of AI is able to transcribe everything and go through research and download all the stuff from the cloud, and then suddenly is able to understand all
Sure.
the animals. And to the robot, they all speak English.
So that's the bit you didn't like in the movie then?
But they also had human characteristics and they had human facial expressions. And it just felt like Zootopia after that, where they just felt a little bit, some of them felt a little bit anthropomorphized to me, in my opinion. And that kind of took me out of it a little bit. I wished it was mostly the robot couldn't communicate with the animals, but found a way somehow. And that was the driving factor. Anyway, that was my issue. But with
Flow didn't have that.
Didn't have any dialogue. So it was all the animals being animals.
And it was all a communicate. So that means it's good.
Yeah, it was all shot in a school with drones, and the camera goes up the drone and in the
cat's butt.
And the cat's
get steal the worms.
Hey, John Collider. No, I really liked it for that, and it was everything that I wanted the Wild Robot to be. Not that Wild Robot wasn't a great film. I did enjoy it. I just wanted that aspect of it to be more prevalent. But when I watched Flow, I felt way more immersed in the story because it was like watching a bunch of animals, even though they had Pixar-ish qualities. You know, they didn't look realistic. They did look like cartoons, but it felt more real in a sense. Because it was just animals trying. Like, what can a cat really say to a capybara on a boat? They can't say anything, but just use.
No, because everyone knows capybaras are socially awkward.
Fun fact: the capybara wasn't actually voiced by a capybara. It was voiced by another animal because
Alan Tudyk.
It was voiced by Alan Sugar from. You're out. You're fired. So yeah, I really liked Flow. I think.
So you're telling me that the animals were split into two teams, and they both had to come up with like business propositions for why they should stay in the boat. And then
one of them has to work at a laundromat, and then they all don't know how to work at the machine. And at the end, they're all fired.
Yeah.
And the cat gets the promotion. So
the lion gets fired from Team Paragon or whatever stupid name they come up with for themselves.
The cat gets promoted to lion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Really makes you think.
Really makes you think. Personally, I would give it a full chatting pitch because I genuinely
Nice.
very, very much enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Almost like I think it was almost a perfect movie.
Okay. Go on then, speed run. What else you seen?
Speed run. What else did I
Tell
watch?
me. I need to know now.
I watched Jason Statham do his thing in The Working Man. Remember that one?
Working Man's out the bag on that one. And so I've heard it's just Jason Statham movies, but without the fun.
It is The Beekeeper. It is The Transporter. It is blah, 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 blah. All the kind of job description type movies that he's done. But less
The
entertaining.
The social worker.
Yeah.
The sous chef.
The forklifter. Yeah.
The fridge technician.
Yeah.
The puzzle maker.
I ain't that kind of guy anymore. I can't lift forks to save my life. Unless you pay me a lot of money.
About lift this spork.
That's the sequel, The Spork Lifter.
The spork lifter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, A Working Man. I would have wished there was more puns and they were more leaning into the fact that he was a working man, because essentially what the movie is, the story, he's a, would you say, blue collar worker? He works on a building site. He's doing all that kind of stuff. But also,
he's lifting
guess
pipes.
what?
He's remaking Commando.
He's got those 4x4s. He's got 4x4s on top of 4x4s.
So he's not the guy. He's not the guy you go for 2x4s.
No.
You ask him for a 2x4, he'll grab you a 4x4.
4x4, yeah. It's 2x4s on 4x4s, like as in Land Rovers.
Oh man, this is more of a square shape. We can't use 2x4s. Jason Statham, go and grab us a 4x4.
He built a 4x4 out of 2x4s.
Into a 4x4.
Yeah.
Finished.
The two of them together becomes an 8x4.
The kids from the charity are going to love their new house.
So, the setup is
every time they have to open a window, it's one of those ones that you have to wheel around.
Yeah. You roll it down 4 times, becomes 4x4.
Turn the heating on. Let me just get the keys. Right, heating's on. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Can I tell you? Can I tell you the story?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
What happens is, go ahead.
Be my guest.
Like the candle from Beauty and the Beast. So, the working man.
Please go on.
My lord, I'm going to end this call. Oh, you don't scare me. Yeah. No. So what happens is Jason Statham, he's doing this Jason Statham thing. He's a ordinary guy, but guess what? He's ex-military, obviously. So what happens? Someone gets kidnapped. He has to go and get the person because he's like, oh, I don't do that kind of work anymore. But then he ends up doing it because he has to.
Sure.
And stuff happens. I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't really follow the story that much because it kind of didn't make much sense.
I was gonna say, do you have to?
Not really. I mean, you're there for the action, but even the action, in my opinion, just wasn't up to scratch. I thought there was a lot of shaky cam. There was a lot of just, when there are action scenes that have talking points, and we're like, oh, do you remember that bit where that thing happened? There wasn't really a lot of that. The best part that happened was at the end, he just goes full Rambo, and that was fun for a little bit, but it didn't last very long. And yeah, I just didn't care much for it. The dialogue wasn't great either, and I think that is a little bit of a problem with a lot of David Ayer films. Some of the dialogue is always a little bit wishy-washy.
Okay.
But there was a moment that made me laugh out loud, and Jason Statham just went, "Nah, I'm just not that kind of man anymore." And I was like, wow, that's textbook. One of these kind of movies, you know.
I'm gonna punch you now.
A lot of people are confused about his accent because he's got this strange half British geezer, half American.
Okay, so
kind of
half
accent.
British geezer, half living in LA for.
Yeah, but he does that in almost all of his recent movies, where you can't quite. He's got this American twang to it, but in this movie, he's actually dual citizenship. He's actually half American, half British. So maybe they were like, maybe we should lean into this a bit more and try and justify why he sounds the way he does. But I'll be honest. I saw The Beekeeper before, which is the previous Jason Statham, David Ayer movie, and I enjoyed that more than this one because at least that one was a little bit campier, and there were a lot more bee puns related to his beekeeping job.
Wasn't there a line where he was like, "To be or not to be"?
Well, not to be, yeah. They were leading into that, and I thought that was fun. But this one just didn't seem as fun. It seemed a little bit too overly serious, and
So at no point does he look at a bad guy and go, "Hey, I'm just working, man." And then,
but there's one point where David Harbour is in the movie as well. He's essentially the James Bond's Q of the movie, right? Where he's like, I've got all these Kalashnikovs in my shed. Which one do you want?
That's Q, is it? See this thing that looks like a gun? Well, pull the trigger and it fires bullets.
Double the fun. Pulled it twice. So yeah, David Harbour's in it, and then at one point he's like, "Oh, I'm not that kind of man anymore." It's like, I know who you are. You're a working man. And everyone in the cinema just groaned collectively, just went, Everyone slightly shifted in their seats. You can see them. They're all just like,
a few people like, I wonder if Black Bag's still on. I'll go and watch that.
Have you seen Black Bag? That any good?
No, I keep trying to catch it, but it's just.
I heard it's good. I heard
it's good. Not on at the right time for me because I'm a working man.
I'm working, man.
I'm working, man.
I'm a working man. So I'm giving it a chat, I think.
That high.
That high.
I mean, you said nothing good about it, apart from there's 2 minutes where he goes full Rambo.
I chuckled a few times. There were some moments in it where I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's let down by the... I think it was let down by what everyone wants it to be, and it's a good, fun action movie, and it wasn't really that. But there were certain moments where I was partially entertained.
Okay.
So yeah, there's that. Now, on the completely different spectrum, but in the same category, I watched another action movie where it was a similar type of story. And I don't think a lot of people have heard about this one. It contains one of the actors that was in your last year's favorite movie of the year.
I can't remember that far back.
It was only last year. Or could it have been this year?
That was like 5 years ago.
When did Trap come out?
Oh, is it the plane one? What's it called?
It's called
Fight or Flight.
Fight or Flight.
Yeah,
or Flight or Fight. I can't remember which way around it is, but Fight Flight.
Both happen. Fight Flight.
Or Fight. Which one's better? Fight Flight or Flight Fight? God, words lost their meaning now.
I like Fight Flight.
Fight
Less
Flight.
of a tongue twister.
Mm.
Mm. Is it like a different class?
Fight, Flight. Fight, Flight, Flight.
Mate, you're losing them. And is there a
words lost all meaning?
Is there like is that a different class of ticket?
Fight Flight.
Yeah, there's like first class. What's the other one?
There's
business class.
Business class. There's
everyone has
premium
suitcases.
economy,
and then there's Fight Flight, which is just
Fight Flight.
you shoved in together, and then people get so mad that they just fight you.
It's essentially the cargo bay, but they built this like fighting cage. And you have to fight your way out to get to the economy.
Yes,
yeah.
And because it's EasyJet, you have to pay for like if you want a weapon.
Yeah.
If you want those
Just pay
soft
extra.
like paddle sticks from Gladiator, you got to pay
Yeah.
another £40. So
Yeah. They even rent towels for like $5 or something.
is that for whipping?
Yeah. Locker room fun. Remember?
Or you just dry someone and then they just
That'll be $5.
he can't fight anymore. He's too dry.
Anyway, going back to the movie. I watched it last night. It's on what was it? Now TV.
Okay.
Because it's a Sky original.
Okay.
I wonder if that was intentional. Because the planes are in the sky, aren't they? We're
Someone's
Sky. What movies can we make? We make movies about things in the sky.
Someone's telling the head of Sky. Yes, it's good, but
You're
it's not selling the Sky.
okay. What if it was a
if we can release
plane
this.
where everyone fights? So essentially, what it is, it's
Shelve everything else.
okay. So fight or flight. It is the following movies mixed into one. It is John Wick. It is Die Hard on a plane, which is Die Hard 2, right? What else was there that was on a plane recently?
Con Air.
Con Air, I guess. Yeah.
Is there a bit of Con Air in there?
But yeah, it's essentially what the story is Josh Hartnett. He is the leading man. He is just chilling out in Thailand, minding his own business, and then he gets a phone call. And then he goes, I'm not that kind of man anymore.
I wonder if there's any of these movies where the main character actually just goes, yes, I've been waiting for this.
I am the man. Yeah.
I'm still the man.
There's got to be. There's got to be.
Keep
But we have
posting
yet
on
to
all my
find.
social media things. I am still the man.
Yeah. Essentially, what happens is he gets a phone call from some organization, and he used to work
We're
for them.
from the organization.
Organization. Yeah.
Not
actually
the
quite-
organization.
You don't know what the organization is at the beginning because you're like, what is this? Because it's all very shady. Oh yeah, there's a mixture of there's a bit of Born Ultimatum or Born Identity in there.
Oh, well, the
Because it
bit where
keeps-
they leap out of the window
Yeah, and then the
into another
window
plane,
is, yeah,
and the camera follows them into the other plane. Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
And the camera goes up the butt, and then it goes
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
No, so
Josh Hartnett's hanging on the side of a plane. Oh, my butt.
I don't think you can get a good angle from here.
Yeah, I'm not the man anymore.
I'm not the man anymore. Yeah. So, yeah,
I'm not
so
your
he's-
man. I'm not your man.
Oh, there's a little bit of kick-ass in there, I guess, because the kind of tone is more of a fun action movie as opposed to a
Okay.
serious action movie. So there's a few needle drops where it's like, this is fun music with action scenes.
Okay.
The budget is relatively low, and you can tell from some of it because some of the VFX is a little bit wonky. However, I had way more better time watching this than I did A Working Man because it didn't take itself too seriously, and there were very much, especially the final act, is quite fun.
Okay.
There was one bit that, and I was watching this on my own, mind you, and very rarely do I watch something on my own and I laugh out loud. And
Okay.
I was laughing for quite some time. I had to pause the movie because I was just like,
All
this
right.
is so
Okay.
this is really, really stupid. But I don't know. Maybe I was just sleep deprived and tired, and you just put something on. It was fun. It was a very fun movie. I didn't really explain past him being not the guy anymore. So what
Does it
happened is
matter?
they
go on a
put him on a
plane, they fight?
plane. They put him on a plane, and his goal is to find somebody on the plane and protect them.
Anybody?
No, they.
I'd just pick the person in the next seat.
Pick
Easy.
the pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
'Cause-
pick the pilot.
Pick
Yeah,
the
job
pilot,
done.
because otherwise the plane goes down.
Doors
if
already
you
locked.
don't-
I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to
Um,
get into the cockpit. I mean, your job's effectively done already.
yeah.
For the rest of
Hey.
the movie, he's just wearing one of those sleeping masks.
There's a lot of movies about planes, isn't there?
I wonder why that is.
The best one, arguably, is Airplane.
Oh yeah. I was going to say Con Air, but yeah, Airplane.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're two different kind of movies, aren't they? The one's an action movie, one's a comedy.
Mm.
However, I will give my rating. I'd say it's a solid. I'd say Chatting Pie. I think it was all right. It was all right. It wasn't groundbreaking at all, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Wasn't done in a Oner.
It wasn't done in a Oner.
Nah, see, yeah. If it was done in a Oner, it would be Chatting Pitch.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I've been watching recently, and I won't go too far into this one, but I watched the first 2 episodes of The Studio, which is Seth Rogen's new Apple TV Plus show about a movie studio. The reason why I mentioned that is because episode 2 was a Oner. And
that means it's good.
It was called The Oner because what happens is Seth Rogen, he's a studio head, and he goes on to the set of a movie that's trying to shoot a Oner. And they don't want him there because they were like, you're too much of a distraction. But he's like, but this is the best part of the movie. I love watching people do things.
Sure.
And I won't spoil
Episode
it.
1, pilot. Episode 2, Oner. Episode 3, 2 can do it too. Episode 4, 3's a crowd. Episode 5, just for you. Episode 6, 5.
The story of 5 guys.
5 alive.
5 alive. Get on up when you're down, baby. They're back on tour now. 5
around. It's them selling gardening equipment.
They're having a bit of a resurgence. 5.
Are they?
They're back. Yeah.
I thought they were all dead.
5. No, they're all very much alive.
Oh, okay.
5 alive.
5 alive.
Yeah. Wasn't there a juice called 5 Alive?
I don't know. Maybe I thought it was made from the members of 5. That's why they died.
From the members of 5.
That horrible slurry accident, and then their manager was like, "Well, may as well make a profit out of them." Cut to stickers going over the top. 5 alive.
Yeah.
If I knew any of their names, I would say their names are the flavors.
The new tour should be 5.
What are their names?
We're still
like
alive.
Reggie flavor. Yeah. I don't know.
Reggie.
I don't know their names. Dave.
Anyway, do we have time to pitch anything?
Jonathan.
We've gone like 52 minutes. Do we have time to pitch anything?
Let's do a pitch. We can't say at the top of the episode, "Hey, you know what makes us special? We pitch things," and then we get to the end and we're like, "Well, you don't really have time."
Join us next week. Well, we may or may not pitch something else.
Join us next week where we might fulfill the remit.
I've got an idea for a pitch.
Go on.
Well, I don't think we should pitch Adolescence because I think that's a bit too...
I thought we were going to pitch like Adolescence, but the detective is Jason Statham from Working Man.
But the detective is
just like hitting people.
The detective is not the man anymore. He's not that kind of guy anymore.
He has to investigate a murder on a plane.
Yeah. So
here we go.
The camera goes
in his butt.
The camera goes. So the whole shot is a Oner.
Yeah.
The camera's in Jason Statham's butt, and it's on a plane.
So the entire time it's just an angle of like things he's sitting on, or places that he's just been standing, but now he's walking away from them. But it's all a Oner, so it's good.
This is terrible. This is a terrible idea. What do we want to develop this, or like who?
I just don't know who the murderer might be. I don't know. I think it's pretty plain to see. And then he hits someone.
And this is still the point of view of Jason Statham's butt?
Oh yeah, it's all muffled like that.
I think it's pretty plain to see.
Wait, you're the guy? Nah, I'm not the guy anymore. And then he starts like hitting.
You just see a load of blurs.
Yeah. You can't even see the action.
You see the blurs, and you just hear like.
Yeah.
Oh!
There's got to be a great name for this movie. There's something in there. The Oner.
There's something in there.
Yeah. So, okay. What have we learned? We've learned that Jason Statham.
What have we learned? Nothing.
We haven't learned anything. No. What have we learned about the story?
We didn't promise that we would teach people anything.
What are we promising?
Nothing.
Half of me just wants
It's
to end the
50
episode right here.
It's 55 minutes in, and we haven't given anything of any substance, and that's good.
Yeah.
So Jason Statham plays a detective.
Mhm.
There's been a murder,
A moida.
and he has to find out who did it. But it's on a plane, and
The camera's
yeah,
in
I
his
think that's
butt.
pretty much it. The camera's in his butt. It's all a one-er.
Yeah. I just want to understand.
And if we
it's a
can't
one-er-
manage to do a one-er, we can just stitch it together every time he farts. That can be like the transition.
What I do want to know is if the camera's in his butt, is the
Right.
camera sticking out of his trousers, or is it just, or are you just seeing jeans the whole time?
Yeah, I guess you'd just see jeans, wouldn't you? You just see like underwear.
Yeah.
So
You know,
I guess it's implied that if you can see the floor, Jason Statham is half naked at that point.
Has anyone done this?
He's just
I
running
don't think
around in a t-shirt,
I don't think anyone's ever done this before. Where the whole movie,
and for good reason.
the whole movie, hear me out, is the point of view of Jason Statham's butt, but within the trousers. So you can get away with very low budget because all you have to do is just put jeans in front of the camera and just do a bunch of sound effects.
Not even jeans.
And call it an action movie.
Just underwear.
Just
Just a
underwear.
bit of fabric. In the sequel, he goes commando, and that's where you can see the denim.
There's like a brief 1 minute sequence where you see the pants come down and you just see the bowl of the
whole
toilet.
audience, no.
Yeah.
Like it takes a moment for the audience to realize what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, they're actually doing it. Oh! I think there's something in there.
Yeah. What scenarios can Jason Statham get into that requires him taking his trousers off? Going to the toilet.
He's a lunatic.
taking a
lunatic
shower.
for one thing.
He's
That's why
a
he's
professional mooner.
That's why he's the mooner. Jason Statham is the mooner.
Is the mooner. Yeah. So he's a detective, but he just incessantly can't stop mooning.
He's actually a side character. He's not the detective.
So,
And every so often you just hear like a door open and the detective says something like, not you. No, not again. And you just hear Statham's voice going like, I know what will help this. And then it's just... Let me help you out, detective.
and they all get into a kerfuffle, and then he has to do the fight
I hear it's a
scene.
full moon tonight.
He has to do the action scenes with his trousers down because
Yeah.
that's his thing.
Well, what happens is he pulls his trousers down one too many times, and the detective is like, right, I've had enough of this. I'm going to try and arrest this guy for mooning a police officer. And that's when the first fight sequence happens. And after that, he loses his trousers.
Yeah.
And from then on, we can see everything.
Mate. And then you can have like great chase sequences where it's all just everyone chasing Jason Statham because it's the point of view of his butt, right?
Yeah.
You can see everyone running towards the camera.
Yeah. Okay, but if you can see people running towards the camera, just by pure like the angle that he must be running at, he must be on all fours so that the camera can see up. Is he running on all fours like an ape man?
He's one of those people who like practicing the art of running like an ape.
Oh yeah, one of those people. I'm always seeing him around town. At first I was like, what are you guys doing? But after enough times of people going, no, I'm actually one of those people that practices running around like an ape. Oh, okay. That famous hobby that's so popular right now.
It's day 5 of me practicing to run like an ape.
It's day 5 of my ape escape.
If there wasn't a video game already named that,
I know what will help, officer. And he pulls his trousers down, leaps onto the table, and you can just see a shot of the suspect's face, and he's looking right at the camera at this point.
Can there be a shot where he's looking into the mirror and he's like checking for hemorrhoids?
Looking into the.
He's like,
That's gonna check him out. Oh no, because then you have to CG the camera out.
oh
You don't
yeah,
have that budget.
no, that budget, no. How does it end? He goes to the toilet.
I think that's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it
no need to
obvious?
explain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly obvious. I think it's perfectly obvious when you have a setup like Jason Statham, who plays an ape man, gets in the way of a detective trying to solve a murder whilst on a transatlantic flight. I mean, it's the story that's been told countless times. No, how does it end?
I thought at the end he goes,
maybe they find out who the killer is, and you hear like a kerfuffle, and the detective, you hear the detective, oh, he's got me, and the detective, and you see the detective on the floor because of the angle of the camera, and then the last thing, and then you see like a bit of blur, and you hear like Jason Statham breathing hard, like chasing the suspect,
chasing Statham,
and then you just hear, oh, good God, no! And the last thing you see is the suspect's face, like into the camera, and then roll credits.
Roll credits.
You've got a camera in your butt. Your name is Jason Statham. You're an ape man who likes to moon. No one can tell you can't be a detective too, you know. We stick together like two butt cheeks. Yeah, you've got a camera in your butt.
Yeah, you got a camera in me.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, like, you know how credits always have, like, you've got, like, the credits go for a certain amount of time, and then the next song plays, and the credits are still rolling. That was like, shake that thing up, would I shake that thing?
Or I thought you were going to go.
And then
with,
there's a blooper reel of like Jason Statham, but the camera just keeps falling off his butt, and he's like, "Oh
reel.
no, yeah, pooper reel."
When the camera falls out
with very highbrow jokes, and anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, and the movie's called The Mooner.
Yeah,
yeah, and then the next one, The Mooner Reloaded.
Oh. The Mooner, time for chili. Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say something.
I was going to say Jason Statham is just going with the Steven Seagal thing, isn't he? Steven Seagal is out for blood. Jason Statham is a working man.
Yeah.
So Jason Statham is the Mooner.
The Mooner.
Not just a Mooner, he's the Mooner.
Anyway, thank you for... Well, what a wild ride. What a wild pitch. So, Jerry Bruckheimer, Joel Silver, and the rest, please contact us if you want to green light. We love you. Yeah. We want you to... we hope we love you. I mean, like, we never know these days with people coming out with
things. Scott Rudin and so forth.
Yeah. Anyway, catch you next week. Well, no.
No.
Well, on that brown note,
we can't end it like that. Absolutely.
How are we going to end it?
I don't know. Just make a fart sound.
Sponsored by this invisible building.
Remember, if you like buildings, go into one.
Yeah. Catch you later. Chatting Pitch has been brought to you by Leslie Way and Matthew D. Smith. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to listen to others and maybe even subscribe. You can follow us on the website, formerly known as Twitter.
Listen to us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Leslie and Matthew have their own side hustles as well. Feel free to check out Leslie's YouTube channel or Matthew's Medium blog. Links in the description. If you want anything else, we might have other links in the description if we think of anything interesting to add. Thank you for listening. I love you.